Alright, in this video we're going to look at a few different formulas in Excel. We're going to look at the COUNTIF function, we're going to look at the SUMIF function, and we're going to look at the AVERAGEIF function. So when you open the food nutrients document, the first thing you might notice is that the right-hand side is all white and blank. If you're like me and you like to see the grid lines, we can easily add them back in by clicking on the triangle in the left-hand corner to highlight everything, going under View, and check marking grid lines. And we have all our grids back. I'm just going to move over these references. So the first one we'll look at is the COUNTIF function. Now the COUNTIF function does exactly what you might assume it does. It looks through a specific range and it counts how many of a certain item occurs. So for example, let's say we want to know of these reps, how often each of them placed an order. So first of all, we need to know who all the different reps are. We don't necessarily want to look through this list manually. It would take far too long. And so we can just list them by using the unique function. So if I go equals unique, and then simply select in a range, select a range. So I'm going to go range C, close bracket, and this is going to list for me all the unique items in that list. And so here we have each of the different reps. Now the COUNTIF function, if I begin it here, COUNTIF and open bracket, we get a few instructions. We see range, comma, criteria. So that's basically which range do you want to search and what do you want to search for. Well, I want to look through column C and I want to look for, in this case, Jones. However, I'm not going to type in the name Jones because I want to be able to drag down the formula. So I'm simply looking for this name, the name in J2. Close the bracket, hit enter, and I can see that Jones placed 8 orders. If I drag this down, I'll get results for all the other reps as well and see how many orders they placed. So that's the COUNTIF function. The SUMIF function works similarly. It looks through a range based on some criteria, but then it has the ability to add items in a different range using that same criteria. So if I go equals SUMIF, we see our instructions here. It's range, criteria, and then some range. So that basically means where are we looking, what are we looking for, and then which numbers do we want to add together. So let's say we want to know the total units that Jones ordered. We're looking through the range of reps, and then we're looking for the name Jones, so we can select that from J2. And then whenever we find the name Jones, we want to add up the units in the units column. So the units are all listed in column E, so I can simply select E to match that. Hit enter. And we can see that Jones ordered a total of 396 units. Drag that down, and we get total orders for everyone else. Now, if we wanted to know, on average, how many units does Jones order at a time? The average would simply be the total ordered divided by the number of times ordered. So we could just go equals this value divided by the number of orders will give us the average per order. We also have something called the AVERAGEIF function that we can use instead. So in the AVERAGEIF function, it works very similar to the SUMIF. Go equals AVERAGEIF, and again we get the instructions range, criteria, and average range. So it's again, where are we looking, what are we looking for, and then which numbers do we want to take the average of. So again, we want to look through column C for our rep name, comma. Then what are we looking for? Well, we're still looking for this same name. And then comma, which numbers do we want to average? We're still looking at units, so we want to average the units column. We should see this match up with the 49.5 we just calculated earlier. And there we go. So now if we take the average function and drag it down, we get all of the other averages as well. And there you have a very quick overview of how to use the COUNTIF, SUMIF, and AVERAGEIF functions. One final note, you'll see some of these headers are cut off a little bit. If you want to avoid that, you can simply again click in the top left to highlight everything. Go onto any of these columns between a letter once your mouse changes to this symbol, double click, and all of the columns will adjust automatically.